Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about training for your Run Disney race and not ending in tears every time you run.
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury-prone Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
So I saw this post on Threads, and it was about this woman saying, I'm training for the 10 miler at Disney in April, and I leave every run almost in tears because I feel defeated. How do y'all do this? And this sucks, right? Like, you're training for a race that's supposed to be so much fun. We run because we want to have fun. We run at Disney because we want to have fun. We aren't running at, Boston Marathon trying to qualify for it. We're trying to have a good time at Disney. And that can get ruined if every training run leaves you in tears. So I have thoughts about this. And I want to share some things that some runners in Threads commented, my opinions on some of that, and then what I recommend is going on, because you may have felt this way too. This may have happened to you before. I don't want this to happen to you because you're running for your health. You're running to do something hard, prove to yourself, prove to other people that you can do hard things, which you can, and you want to have fun doing it. That's why you choose Disney races, because they're fun and they're inclusive of the different paces. So let's make this fun. So looking at these different Threads comments, somebody says, do you have a training plan or a coach? Go slow and steady, plenty of time to get there. You can spend 8 weeks building up to 3 miles, then over 12 weeks, slowly up to 10 miles. It's going to be a great race. A lot of people were very encouraging. Another person says, slow and steady, find out what fuel works best for you. And these are good options. I thought I had saved more of these. I guess I didn't. This is good advice, but it's not super actionable. Like slow and steady. She probably is going slow and steady. She's already training for the 10 miler and it's November, right? Like, she's going slow and steady, or what she thinks is slow and steady. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know what the actual pace looks like. I don't know what the actual mileage buildup looks like. But when somebody comes to me, when a runner comes to me and says, I leave in tears or almost in tears after every run, we have a problem. And we have a problem of pushing beyond our limits too often. Now, of course, we want to push our limits. That's how we get better, right? Like, I remember when I did gymnastics and we had to do strength and conditioning. And I vividly remember, like, during the strength and conditioning portion, my coaches would say, you have to push through. When you feel like you can't do anymore, do one more. And they were talking about, I don't know, push-ups or pull-ups or something. And if you know me, push-ups and pull-ups, not my jam. My upper body strength is minimal. I'm also a hypermobile person. So looking back on it, once I realized I'm a hypermobile person, like, no, it shouldn't feel like there's a clunk when you're doing a dead arm hang and then trying to go into a pull-up. Oh, that's my shoulders subluxing on me. That's not good. So thinking back, like, these pieces really made it so upper body strength was no fun for me. But that's an aside. I remember doing these push-ups or these pull-ups and my coach being like, you have to do one more. And I'm like, there. I'm hanging there. Like, I can't do any more. This is miserable. And her point was, you have to push beyond your current limits to get to the next level. Yes. And there are other ways than just trying to do one more pull-up, trying to do one more push-up. There are step-by-step ways to actually get you to build that strength without actually just doing another pull-up. There are different strength exercises with weights, elastic bands, barbells, assisted pull-ups. That's what would have been better. Have me do as many pull-ups as I could do, which has been like 3 in my entire life, but have me do as many pull-ups as I can do. And then when I can't do any more full-fledged pull-ups, let's assist in some kind of way. Let's get a rubber band to assist with the weight. Let me get on one of these weight-assisted machines, which we didn't have at gymnastics. It was all body weight or ropes or elastics or the actual equipment. But this is what my thought process is now. Get me on these different things. Have me do lat pull downs. Have me do a dead arm hang with an eccentric lower. Let me have me do triceps exercises and biceps exercises and deltoid exercises and rhomboid exercises and trap exercises and lat exercises. The whole kit and caboodle that contributes to doing that one pull-up. So yes, you have to push beyond your limits at some point to get better beyond what you can do currently. But just pushing and pushing and pushing ain't it. That's just going to leave you miserable. I left gymnastics in competitive gymnastics in 6th grade because it wasn't fun anymore. And soccer was more fun. And my parents wanted me to make a decision, soccer or gymnastics, because I was very competitive in both of them. I chose soccer. And then I went back to gymnastics in high school where it was fun. I didn't have to do bars. I didn't have to do upper body strengthening. I could just go out and do my floor, my beam, a little bit of vault until I convinced Buffy I am not a vaulter and I don't want to do it. And do what I wanted and made it fun again. So how can we make running and training fun again? So if you're leaving in tears, it's not fun. You can't convince me that somebody crying every time they work out is fun for them. So how can we make this fun for them? Well, we need to stop pushing our limits every single run for that same amount of time. Do not take this as saying you don't push your limits. You do push your limits. If you are in Stronger, Faster, Finisher, you know I help you push your limits to a point. We don't need to be pushing our limits for a 5, 10, 15 mile run every week. We don't need to be pushing our limits through 3, 4, 5, 6 hours every week. Let's push our limits in slow and controlled manner. Maybe not slow because it is speed work that we're pushing our limits, right? But let's make this fun again. So when somebody's in tears after almost every run, you're pushing your limits too much. You are already exhausted. You are past the point of it being fun anymore. So let's rein it in. So slow and steady. Yes. All these commenters are saying slow and steady. Yes. Slow and steady on the long run. One of the biggest mistakes I see runners make when it comes to the long run that makes them almost in tears is that they are trying to run too many miles over and over and over again. And that usually comes in the form of adding a mile every week or every other week to run more to get the mileage in. If you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know I am all about the 10% rule. The 10% rule means that you increase your mileage by 10%, no more than 10% each week. And that could be total weekly mileage, or my preferred way to do it is just the long run, because we keep the middle of the week mileage pretty much the same. I do that on the long run. You increase it so slowly that your body barely notices you did anything different, right? If you run 3 miles and then next week you run 3.3 miles, in your brain, you think, oh, it's just a third of a mile. I can totally do that. And you can, because you've already done 3 miles, and the increment of going 10% more is so little that you in your brain don't register that it's actually more. But it is. And it's minimal effective dose. It's the minimal amount that you need to go to make progress. And it's the upper limits of how much you can go without getting hurt after doing it week after week after week. Now, of course, usually if somebody is doing more than 10%, they can do it a couple of weeks in a row and it doesn't cause a problem. It's when it's been done for about 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, that it starts being a problem. Pain-wise, injury-wise, we're talking Achilles problems, runner's knee, IT band syndrome, popping hip, impingement syndrome in the hip flexor problems, things like that. So maybe this runner is adding 1 mile, 2 miles every week, every other week, and they are pushing beyond their limits that way. Maybe they're trying to run the same pace every single workout and they're gassing themselves. They are exhausted. And when you're exhausted, or even better yet, let's think of an exhausted 2-year-old. All they do is throw a tantrum, right? Your body is the exhausted 2-year-old when you're trying to push your limits like that, when you're trying to run more and more, or you're trying to run faster and faster, or the worst combo, more and faster. That is a recipe for disaster. And you are the 2-year-old who is well past their nap time throwing a tantrum. It just looks different as an adult because you don't lay on the ground and, do that body arch thing that the 2-year-olds do when they're throwing a tantrum, right? But they're exhausted, you're exhausted, and you're probably crying. So those are likely what's happening. It's unlikely that it's lack of fuel because lack of fuel will show up another way first. It will show up as dizziness, lightheadedness, feeling like your legs are going to collapse on you. Not necessarily the tears. It's usually just like, I have run too far or too fast or too far and too fast, and now my body's throwing a tantrum, and I am just exhausted. I am gassed. But we still want to make progress. We want to train for this 10-miler, and we want to make progress. So, of course, slow and steady. We're in November. Build up to a 5K distance between now and January. And then in January starts the 10-miler training program that I wrote that starts at a 5K. So between now and then, build up to a 5K, even if you can already do a 5K. Let's get the love of running back. Let's make it enjoyable again. So tone it way back, go from 0 to 5K, do the actual 0 to 5K training, and then in January, do the 5K up to the 10-miler training program. And then mix it up. I cannot stress enough about how mixing up the different types of workout brings so much life back into training for a runDisney race. When you do the same thing day in and day out, you're gonna drive yourself crazy and it's gonna get boring. And then you're gonna have to find a new way to make it more exciting. And so that's when you start running longer or faster, or longer and faster. And we just talked about that is a terrible combination. Please do not do that. But mix it up. Add cross training so you're not even running. I don't care if it's paced walking or elliptical or a spin class. All of those are wonderful choices. Swimming, other kinds of exercises, not strength training. That's completely separate category in itself. That is not cross training. Do something else 2 days a week. So then you're still working out, but you're working out differently. And then 2 days a week, do speed workouts. Choose 2 of the 4 each week, and then the following week, do the other 2 and flip flop back and forth until you find one that you really, really like. And maybe you keep that one on Tuesdays as an example. Many of my runners in Stronger, Faster, Finisher really like 30, 20, 10. So I make that be Tuesday's workout. Keep it consistent so we have some relative normalcy. So we don't really need to think about it. We just go out and do it. And then Thursday, the other speed work, you rotate between hills, tempo, and progression. And of course, I'm using Tuesday, Thursday. It can be any day of the week. It doesn't matter to me what day you do your speed workout. And then do your long run, slow and easy. Make that one be enjoyable again. Go so slow that you barely think you're running. You're kind of, it's a bouncy walk. Make it enjoyable again and not this pressure on yourself of, oh, I have to get this certain time on this long run or I'm not a runner. I have literally heard somebody say that to me. Your time when you're training has nothing to do with whether you're a runner or not. Your time on a race has nothing to do with whether you're a runner or not. You belong there. Whether you run the majority of the time, whether you do run walk intervals, whether you walk every once in a while, whether you're running a 5-minute per mile pace or an 18-minute per mile pace, you belong here. Every pace passes the people on the couch. Let's not tie these paces into whether you deserve to be here or whether you're worthy of running or whether it was a good workout or not. A couple episodes ago, I said, give yourself some grace. Don't tie whether your workout was good or bad. Don't tie that with how fast you could go, how far you could go. Did you give it your all that you had that day in that workout? Was that 10 minutes and you did 10 minutes? Great. Was that the full 3-hour long run you were supposed to do? Great. Do what you can with what you have. Make it enjoyable again. Take the pressure off. The pressure is unnecessary. We don't need to be in tears every time we go for a run, every time we work out. And ways to mitigate that are slow down, go fewer miles each week, and mix it up. Cross training, speed workouts, different kinds of speed workouts, and long runs. And then include your rest days. I haven't even mentioned that. Is this person taking rest days to let their body recover from all of the hard things that they're doing? I don't know. Most weeks you should include at least 2 rest days. Sometimes it's going to be more and sometimes it's going to be less. Over a 14-day period, aim for at least 3 rest days. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your RunDisney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster, Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.